Hello,
Well, hello.
everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Dynamically Speaking live from Identiverse. I'm Emmy Reichert, the marketing manager at Axiomatics, and in Vegas is our CTO and my co-host, David Brossard. Hey, David, how's Vegas?
I can't tell you. You know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Okay.
Apart from that, doing
Well,
good.
well, we're about to break that rule with our podcast. So we also have today with us our special guest, Roland. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. Do you
Let's
want to
get
tell
this
us?
rolling.
Yeah. Do you want to tell
Yeah.
us a bit about
Sorry, Emmy.
yourself and what you do?
I'm Roland. I'm from Germany, and I'm co-founder and managing director of Umbrella.associates. So we are a boutique consultancy in Germany and only focused on identity and access management in all its aspects. And yes, we are specialized in bigger corporations. So starting from those entities and more. That's always where I say there's the interesting problems.
Cool. So I got a question. What got you to Identiverse? Why Identiverse? Why Vegas?
Well, it's the biggest and most important conference in the industry, so it felt like natural. And the Identiverse and the EIC are our most important conferences. So for me, it's the third time, and it's always interesting. I really love it to be in Vegas and the Identiverse because you have so many people from the industry, so many insights and thoughts and interesting discussions. So it's always thing I'm looking forward.
Cool. So third time at Identiverse this year. What is the main topic you see being like headlining all the conferences, all the presentations, the sessions, the keynotes?
Obviously, AI.
AI.
It's getting all over the place. You can see that it started last year, sort of, and this year it's just securing AI agents and stuff like that. And yeah.
Do you include NHI in AI, or is that another topic, non-human identities? NHI. Do you think it's part of the AI conversation, or is it a separate topic?
Well, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
And do you see that as a concern?
What?
In non-human identities, or is that something you've seen with your customers yet?
I don't see it with my customers yet because it's still a new topic. I think there are so many challenges to solve, but it's obvious that it's getting a thing and it's getting a challenge.
Okay.
AI bots. Yeah.
So I saw that your co-conspirator and co-founder presented, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, on the different regulations that we see in Europe.
Yes, this was Sebastian's talk. Yeah.
Sebastian, yeah.
Yeah.
Sebastian Burr, who is the co-founder, correct?
Yeah.
Of Umbrella Associates. And I went there because on his title it said Dora. I was expecting to see Dora the Explorer, but it wasn't that. What is Dora? What are the European regulations?
Well, it's a regulation about securing the industry. So critical infrastructure and critical industries, they get more regulation to harden their systems to do identity and access management. And yeah.
Okay.
Just another regulation. I would
do they help when the regulations, do they guide your customers, or is it more of a headache for them when they ask you?
It's sort of a headache for them because they're getting nervous. Another regulation, you have to do this and that. But in the end, if you're doing ISO or the other frameworks, in the end, it's nearly the same. It's about risk management and certain aspects of risk management.
Okay. So I want to go back to, and Emmy, I'm sorry, I'm taking up all the questions, but feel free to, you know me, Emmy. I want to go back to the number one topic you said you were seeing at Identiverse, and same with last year, AI. What part of AI, if any, is the one that's taken out the most? And this is an identity conference, so how does that relate to identity?
Well, AI and especially AI bots will more and more be sort of an agent. So they act on your behalf, they book a ticket or do a reservation on your behalf. So it will be a challenge to have this agent not getting my credentials, but permissions and tokens and stuff like that to act on my behalf and do things, and doing this in a secure manner. And this is a challenge.
Okay. Is it because today they don't really either don't have an identity themselves, or we need to figure out how to carry the end user identity? Is it technical issues? Is it like architectural issues, or even like just more like processes that we need to think, or all of the above?
Good question. I think it's a mixture of all.
Yep.
So having a secure method to giving an AI bot permissions to do something on my behalf, having the technical protocols to do that, authentication, authorization, especially, and limiting the capabilities of what the bot is doing, and that's a holistic challenge, I would say, on the technical side, on the operational side, but also on the human side, because we are getting things to AI bots, and they are doing stuff on behalf of us with a much more quicker than we do. So monitoring those bots and securing their actions and their transactions will be a technical challenge, but also I think a personal challenge for users.
Are you worried or excited?
Mixed.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the development because it's interesting. It's a challenge. But yeah, we'll see how this where this will lead us to.
And your customers, I guess, they're from multiple verticals, multiple industries. Are they already using AI? Are they thinking about using AI? Are they using agentic AI already? What's their level of maturity, and do they think about all the pitfalls, or is that where you are and you're holding their hand and saying you got to worry about this and that?
Well, currently, not a lot of our customers are using AI and agentic AI, but I think this will be getting more and more. And yeah, we will see which discussions will come out with our customers.
Cool. So you mentioned a word that Emmy and I really like: authorization. Yeah. What in your mind, not necessarily specifically in the light of AI, but what in your mind is the key difference between authentication and authorization? Like, how would you help people understand the difference?
Well, authentication is about proving who you are, and authorization is defining what you can do.
Yep.
At the moment, you are identified and verified. So it's about permissions in the end. And the first thing is about identification.
So when we know who you are, we need to determine what you can do.
Exactly.
And then you mentioned access delegation, right? Or acting on behalf of. I can think of one standard in that space, and that's OAuth, right? I believe Aaron Parecki, who's one of the OAuth gurus, has been writing quite a bit on how to apply OAuth to MCP. MCP is one of the new buzzwords, right? I keep forgetting what it stands for. Model Context Protocol?
Sort of that.
Yeah, something like that.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I need to read Aaron's spec.
Yeah, same.
But in there, it's actually quite interesting. And this is a shout out to people not in the IAM space. The people behind MCP, they've been writing how to use OAuth on top of MCP. Aaron is now sort of writing back and saying, this is actually how you have to use OAuth from the OAuth point of view on MCP. So I think this is how we're going to be tackling access delegation for agents, for MCP and then agents for A2A.
And we haven't even talked about authorization for AI agents. So we are just talking about the delegation of the user's credentials or permissions of the user to an AI agent. But currently in the authorization space, we are just talking about getting external authorization externalized, getting standards in the interfaces between the applications. But we didn't even start talking about permissions and authorization for agents, which are acting on behalf of us. And I think for vendors and customers, this would also be important, not only to know that there is a user, there is an AI agent that is acting on behalf of the user, but maybe because of that, limiting the permission, not of the user, but of the agent.
Yeah.
So it's really another challenge.
Yeah, and another challenge is we're getting a lot of noise from the shofar. As you can see, we're right here in the middle of Identiverse, so apologies to our speakers. For those of you who have ASMR, it's a great experience. For the others, no. So what Roland was pointing out is that it's not just about access delegation, right? So yes, the user, I want to tell my agent, I'm going to allow you to book a plane ticket up to say 500 euros or $500, right? So that's the delegation piece. But beyond that, you also want to control what AI as a whole can do on the data, or whether an agent can even access the travel system, in my example, regardless of access delegation. And I saw a presentation yesterday. I don't know if you were in there, where the person was saying, "Oh, we also need to worry about authorization on the results of AI." So this is not necessarily agent AI; it's more just regular AI, RAG AI potentially. So you see that as well with your customers?
Not with my customers, but as a discussion in the industry.
Yeah.
So last year I had the chance to be at a conference in Germany, in Frankfurt, and there was a real interesting demonstration where they had an AI agent acting on I think it was an Elastic-based database. And the thing was that the user had no permission to access the data itself, but there was an AI agent in between who you can talk to. And the agent was like, yes, I can't give you access to that data, but I can answer you about questions. So tell me questions and I will digest them and probably you will get an answer. And I think that's a real interesting concept, having an AI agent, sort of a proxy between the data and the user, who's filtering and aggregating data and giving you not the data, but the information about that.
Yeah, the metadata.
Yes, the metadata.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then you mentioned the word proxy, of course. Being an authorization nerd, I think of the ABAC NIST architecture with the notion of the PEP, the notion of the PDP, the brain. So the proxy is a great PEP for authorization that happens.
In this case, yes, but it was not, the agent was not sort of a PDP, I would say.
Oh, no. It was, the proxy would have called out the PDP, I guess.
Yes.
Or were you saying the agent itself was doing control as well?
Yes, the agent was doing control. So it was like talking to a human, and he was like, "No, I cannot give you access about to the data, but I can answer your questions."
Nice.
Yeah, I really like the idea and the demonstration.
All right, so I've got more questions. Moving on from AI, if we look at the different identity-specific technologies or IAM-specific technologies, what is the most exciting thing you've seen so far at the conference?
Of course, Authn.
Authn?
Yes,
I'm glad to hear you say that.
I really like the progress we are doing this project. Really looking forward to see it in the field. Yeah.
So for listeners out there, tongue twister. Authn is a new working group under the helm of OpenID Foundation. And it is all about standardized interfaces to query for authorization decisions. So both Roland and I are members of the Authn working group. We presented on Tuesday. We're presenting again on Friday, tomorrow. And the whole point is that, quote, authentication is solved. So probably not fully solved, but mostly solved. Now we need to tackle authorization, and we need to have a consistent way for asking these authorization questions. And that's why I was, talking about the PEP PDP ABAC architecture. This is pretty much the Authn architecture. So if you're interested, join us in the working group at OpenID. If you just Google Authn, AUTHZEN, or ZEN for those of you in Canada and the UK, you'll find the working group. I'm glad to hear that you think Authn is the coolest. I kind of agree. I also like what they're doing in shared signals. I think combining both a runtime authorization architecture and being able to react dynamically to the evolution, like a changing situation, these are the two fundamental cornerstones of a better authorization model.
That's true.
Are your customers aware that it's happening? Are they following standards development, or is it so far away from them?
It's so far away from them, but I always try to talk about this with my customers. But you see, they are still doing sign-on or single sign-on and still busy with that. And then you come up with fine granular authorization management. You have to do this and that, and they want, okay, maybe next year, because it scares them sometimes, because you have to take your hand at another topic. And authorization, to be honest, is not quite easy.
No.
So it's a complex thing, and
the way I see it is that it's technically easy. It's from a human process and stakeholder and ownership perspective, very difficult.
Yes, that's true.
My image is always that you have two chairs, you're playing a game of musical chairs, and you're kind of stuck in between the two chairs, like the developers on the one hand, the app owners on the other, on one hand, and the IAM team on the other. You have a secret sauce?
A secret sauce? No.
No? So we're gonna have a job for a very long time then. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm relieved. Great. Any sessions you want to go see today?
Not really, because it's going afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately leaving because there was no direct tomorrow. So we are leaving a little bit here, unfortunately. So there are not a lot of tasks I can do.
I hope you got some sunglasses, for your newfound celebrity status. They might not let you put in the right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I go to the first line. So.
exactly. You still go to economy, unfortunately, but great. Emmy, do you have any additional questions for our Roland guest here?
No, is there any other sessions
We lose
that
you. Uh-oh. Okay, cool.
So besides Austin, what session
Go ahead.
or what quote
I think
have
we have a
you
bit of
heard
itch.
that stood out the most?
Besides Alt-Zen, what's the topic that got you the most interested? Besides AI and Alt-Zen, working down that line, after Alt-Zen was the next topic that you followed?
At the conference or in general?
At the conference.
Good question. There are so many topics, and it's hard to get a topic. But I think AI and Alt-Zen and chat signals authorization are the most interesting to me.
Okay, and outside the conference?
Outside of the conference, what happens in Riga stays in Riga.
What time did you go to bed last night? Or is that TMI?
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. and I got up at 6.
Wow. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being here. How do you feel right now?
Yeah. Getting.
Yeah. I went to bed at 11 p.m. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got enough sleep.
I got enough sleep. Yeah. I've had very noisy neighbors for the past two days in my hotel room.
Okay. Glad it was not me, but I can get enough sleep at the 11 hours to confirm for years.
Yeah.
I will recover on the way.
You're good. Moving from the conference, I've got some personal questions. What got you into IEM to begin with?
To be honest, it was my second master thesis.
Okay.
So I chose a topic which is in between of IT, because I studied IT and economics. So I had to choose a topic which is bit of IT, bit of economics. So I choose identity and access management as part of the internal control system.
Okay.
So this is building the bridge between the business and the tech, and having the reason, why are we doing this at all? Identity and access management. Yeah. So this was my first step into the industry. And after that, I had the luck to become Sebastian's first employee. And he just dropped me off at a really large customer. And I found myself being the chief architect for identity and access management at Audi for 2 years. And this was a strive learning curve, but I really liked it. So this got me into the industry.
Cool. Okay. What was your biggest lesson learned from that experience?
It's a holistic problem. So you have to talk to people, you have to do tech, you have to understand the organization and they're doing, their challenges. And the bigger the organization and the architecture gets, the more are you maintaining it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Workforce IM, consumer IM, a bit of both?
In this case, so my first customer, it was workforce identity management. They had thousands of IT systems, hundred thousands of employees. So it's a huge stack, a huge architecture. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the time of my life. I wrote like 10 emails or 20 emails a day for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did less tech and more org, more conversations and stuff like that. But I really liked it.
So we should not underestimate the importance of the softer side of IEM, which is maybe the more critical side in a way, convincing the stakeholders, educating. And I see that as well too, like obviously specific to authorization for me, but we did education 10, 15 years ago on why you need to do authorization. We're doing that education again because the people need to know how to do authorization. They need to understand who the stakeholder is. That's a really, really big challenge.
Yeah. Why doing that at all? So and in the end, it all boils down to that's really important. You can't speak tech to managers. This is a new shiny thing. I wanted to go away. Have you seen David Lee's talk yesterday?
No, I missed it. Unfortunately,
it was really cool. It was about that very topic. Don't speak to managers with tech. Always have one solution. Always try to solve one problem at the time, speak business, try to address a business problem, and then you will get a project.
So for the listeners out there, David Lee, also known as Identity Jedi, also runs a podcast, the Identity Jedi podcast. And he's just an all-around great, thinker, speaker, and he's got a bunch of battle scars from doing identity implementations.
And besides that, he's a cool guy.
And he's a really, really, really cool guy. Yeah. Awesome. Any parting words? Any final thoughts?
Not really. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me as a guest. I really like the conference. And if you're not at the Identiverse, next year, it's getting bigger.
And you mentioned two things, by the way, at the beginning. You said Identiverse and EIC. So what's EIC for people in Europe?
Well, it's the most important identity and access management conference in Europe. So with Identiverse, I think the two are the most important conferences.
It takes place in Berlin.
It takes place in Berlin.
Yeah. So if you don't have travel budget to come all the way to Vegas, then you can always go to Berlin.
Yeah, and we have better food.
Better food, better drinks.
That's true.
And a beautiful city.
Yeah, that's true.
Great. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for getting up early.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emmy. Any final words from you, Emmy, before we call it a wrap?
What booth are you at? Where can people find you?
Oh, very good. I don't know my booth number. We are booth 438. But I just learned, side story, since we're talking about booth numbers, one of the identity vendors here has booth 401, which we think is really, really funny, of course. We should have gone booth 401. It would have been fun.
Is it empty?
No, it's Radiant Logic. And then I'm looking for booth 404, but I just can't find it. So, yeah, come see us. Just a quick tour of where we're standing. So this is the Axiomatics stand, and Roland, of course. There we go. Here's Sabrina, our communications manager, and this is the floor. So lots and lots of cool companies. So if you're at Identiverse, just head over to the floor. It opens in an hour, I believe, or in 30 minutes. We'll be there. Lots of cool stuff to see, lots of cool demos to see. There's even a stand where you can race a car. So you can have lots of fun. Come check it out. And if you're not in Identiverse, give us a call. Always here.
Awesome. And then you mentioned the Aussen has something on tomorrow. Do you know what time or location for that?
Oh, let me look it up. Live, looking up in the app. So it is not in the printed material because it was a last minute addition. It is a readout of the work we've been doing in Aussen. So it's if you've seen the Tuesday session, it will be very similar to the Tuesday session. And then while I tap dance and look for how do I search for sessions in this thing? It's Friday morning, and let's see if I can find it. Zen agenda. It is Friday, 10:15 a.m. Breakers J. This is it for people who want to see my not so contrasted screen. There we go. Check it out. And probably didn't work out too well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Breakers J.
Awesome. So hopefully anyone who's at Identiverse can.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry, Amy, one more thing. Outside of identity, you have another passion.
Which is? Yes, of course, the identity. So if you have never heard of that, we are doing beer, our own beer. It started all with we have two. So if you know the identity beer meetups, this was kind of our inspiration. So Sebastian got the idea of, well, identity meetups is cool, but we are Germans. Hold my beer, we can make beer ourselves. So we started with this one, which is the identity beer. It's a German Helles, and we hand this out at conferences as a token of appreciation for people in the industry who shape the industry, who shape the discussions. And 2 years ago, when the Authent thing started and authorization came the topic in the industry, I figured out we need a second beer, which is the authority beer. It's a bit more hoppy, but yes, these two are.
Collect them all.
Yes, collect them all, and if you are at the conference, just come and find us and grab a beer. There are just a few left.
Right. And I want to say you did a pun there. I don't know if you intended it, but you said it's a token of appreciation. Is it SAML or is it OAuth or
It's
either?
OAuth. This one is SAML.
Ah, there we go. Cool. Where's all then? Where's Zachable?
Next year. Next year.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emmy.
Awesome. Thanks.